Hi, welcome back to Cerebral Threads. Been a little while, but it has been a crazy few weeks. So we'll just dive into the Capital Riots. I am really saddened and disappointed with Trump supporters who were there. Nothing else you can really say about it. They hurt us. They hurt the movement. They sent Trump out in a horrible way. It just hurt a lot of the real virtuous meaning behind this movement. That's what it did. So I am really disappointed and angry at everyone who participated in that. But I do understand why a lot of the people there didn't think that sort of response from the government, the Capitol Police, and then afterwards, the couple of weeks since, the demonization, the insurrection talk, the domestic terrorism talk, that is all brought on by what they did. But I get how frustrating it is that from the right or the conservative point of view, you see the government and government buildings as the people's house. And I understand the frustration in knowing that there's a difference between what the left is doing, which is attacking the people, restaurants, gasoline stations, burning down police stations, police cars, trying to burn down courthouses, taking over entire blocks of cities and keeping the people within it hostage and not letting police, firemen, ambulances in. That's on one side in what we're watching. And so when the right goes to the people's house, the government, and protests and makes their voice heard in what I feel is the right place, the government, not the streets and your fellow American, I understand seeing those two sides and thinking, what the hell, we were just protesting and whatnot. But we're not going to get the same difference from the media, government players, politicians. That's not going to happen. So we don't get to have the same violent, civil, disobedient protests and riots that the left has been looking over and allowing and encouraging even for the last 4 years. So it sucks, but that's not what we're going to get to do or be allowed to do or get any support from. So you who, especially the few hundreds, maybe 1,000 that went inside, I get it. It's the people's house. Most of you weren't violent, but there was enough. There was hundreds of you that were violent, clashed with police, pushed your way in, broke windows, vandalized, stole stuff. You just kind of blew it for all of us. I'm trying not to call names, but I am upset about it. It is supposed to be the people's house, but the politicians and the government are not going to let us claim it that way. The only way we're going to be able to claim the people's house back is through the political system and voting and filling our local and state legislatures and city councils with people who believe more in the American dream that characterized by the right's view of it as opposed to the left's. And we need people who are going to hold strong. And I don't mean that the rioting and the violence is okay. I don't think it is. But I don't think it is on the left or the right. The hypocrisy is what's being done to this one serious, violent, deadly riot versus the dozens and dozens we've seen over the last 4 years with the same things happening. We also lost the political and moral high ground because of this. We've been sitting and watching these children, these babies, cry and destroy neighborhoods and attack people and harass people in restaurants. In what was building our movement was our ability to stand there and look at it and say, no, you're crying and screaming and shouting and slamming your fists aren't going to get you anything from me. That sort of just standing strong in the face of their crying and hysteria over non-existent issues. That was a part of the power of the movement, I think. And we have to get away, I think, in the future, away from this turn the other cheek type response to what the left is doing. And as an example, I don't mean that we cheat and get violent the way they do. No, I'm talking about like in an MMA fight. We all know those, just asshole fighters who like to come out and tap gloves and then throw a punch. What I'm saying is, for too long in the past, I think because of the Christian base on the right, it's been more of a turn the other cheek thing, where you trust them the next time, you give them a chance, you follow your morals and values, because it doesn't matter what they do, you're following your morals and values for another reason. But that doesn't mean you come out in the second round and go to tap gloves again and take another cheap shot. What it means is we got to be that fighter that second round goes, no, not tapping gloves. You're an asshole and you're just going to hit me. And then use that to that anger and that extra motivation against the person you're fighting to take it to another level. Using that to fight harder, but not cheating and fighting in the streets and burning buildings down and destroying windows. You can't do that, or you will destroy what's left of the MAGA movement that is about freedom. And because of this, you've even caused more of our freedoms to be taken away. Those of you who rioted hurt free speech, and you can see it now because they are censoring everything. And for those of you on the left, they're now censoring you. It was us first, but now it's you. And they will, the political class, those in power, the administrative state, the deep state, whatever you want to call it, the government and its employees are not going to allow either side to continue talking bad about the government. And that's what a lot of this comes down to, is just being able to criticize the other side, criticize your government, criticize your corporations, criticize the leaders and powerful people in your civilization. That's one of our greatest gifts to our unborn and the world, is continuing to uphold the right of freedom of speech. And this Capitol riot has hurt free speech. You've given them the excuses they needed. Now they are calling us insurrectionists and domestic terrorists, and they're going to try to take away our ability to use financial institutions. They're already going to slam us off Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. They've destroyed Parler just because we were starting to move over to another one too. So it is an attack on the free speech of a very specific part of the country, which, by the way, is fascism. Those of you who consider yourselves anti-fascists, I'm hoping you're not supporting the censorship of your debate enemies, because that's what we want to stay, is debating enemies. We want to stay in the realm of conversation. But because that is being won by the right, It's sliding more into, no, I don't want to hear you. I'm going to blow a megaphone in your face and make ree noises so that no one can hear what you're saying. If we degenerate to that, it will be bad for the future of America in a very major way. So Capital Riots, I'm really disappointed. And I think you've given those of you who participated in it. And this is not what I'm saying about the people who listened to the speech, the hundreds of thousands who were standing around the Capitol and protesting and letting their voices be heard in Congress. That is entirely American and good. They went to the people's house to make their voices heard. Now that small percentage, the 1 or 2% that then stormed it, and then even probably smaller percentages, as opposed, measured against the actual number of hundreds of thousands of people that showed up there. It is that tiny percentage of you that kind of blew it for the rest of us. And man, I hope it at least comes down to a moment of realization for the right, libertarians, liberals, and the real liberals, not leftist progressives. I hope it comes down to those of you who have been looking at the left and the progressive movement on the left. I hope this, at least shakes a lot of you out of your tribes and gets you to start looking at the fact that this was a big loss. The left, the progressive left, and the government is going to take this opportunity to shut us up and to shut us out of the decision making, maybe for generations, depending on how this 4 years goes with Biden-Harris, which I think we all know is the Harris presidency. Let's not pretend Biden doesn't have long. So I think as a movement, we need to reset. And, it's not really a Trump movement. Trump was on the nose of the boat, but if that falls off, that doesn't mean the boat keeps moving. The freedom train keeps going, regardless of whether or not the conductor's kicked your favorite passenger off. Doesn't mean the train stops. But it's going slow. It is now creeping along, and we're going to have to do something as a MAGA movement in the future to recapture the moral ground and the idea ground. And that is not going to be easy in this new age of censorship. So I know I'm going to be trying hard. I think I'm small enough that, I got a couple handfuls of subscribers, so I don't think they're personally coming after me. But hopefully, with more subscribers over this year and more content, maybe I could become a problem to the left, and that would actually be a badge of honor. So, hey, on a less serious note, I have an idea for a new mug club. I'm going to try and get a sponsor for my mug club as opposed to just starting one. I see it, and I don't care whose tears you fill it with. In fact, I think I may put one that says, like hot blank tears, and then you could write in whoever's tears you're wanting to drink. But anyways, I'm looking for a mug club sponsor. I'm trying to give you an idea of what I'm doing here, just so you can see. I had to erase some identifying marks so I don't get anybody angry at me. But I've heard this company, wink, wink, is having some problems in their bathrooms. I think it was just a few years ago. I don't know if they solved it yet, but I have a great plan. So my mug club, in conjunction with somebody you might know, I'm hoping to start 4 levels of mug club. And I'm hoping someone from, I'll let them know because I know I've made this kind of hard to tell what's going on. But I was thinking of a 4-level mug club, and if they would sponsor the mugs, I would add the syringe caddy. Huh? Look how easy that is. A syringe candy that takes 1 syringe will be our level 1, and that'll be $20 a day, and you could be at the slacker level. Now, for $20 a day, I call it the hipster level, you can have a 2 caddy cup. Now, if you're dedicated and you really want to be a part of this, I suggest at least going with the Cobain level. 3. It is $100 a day, but it is worth it for how much caddy you have here. And then there's our highest level. If you are a true member and want to be a part, it's $200 a day. I call it the full wine house. That is more than enough caddy for one day. So, be looking for it. I'm going to work hard to get them to maybe sponsor, maybe at least give me a shout out, and we'll see where we can go from there. Or if you know another mug club that thinks that is also having some bathroom problems, let me know, and I can design a syringe caddy mug for them too. We'll see what they say. I'm not hopeful, but I think sometimes good ideas can cross barriers that you might have had just from being, yourself. All right. Well, thanks for listening. I know that was a little more serious and sad, but it had to be dealt with. Y'all fucked up. But that doesn't mean it's unrecoverable, and it doesn't mean we need Trump. I mean, I'm sure Trump will be there in some way in the future, but he makes a better politician than a reality star, is all I'm saying. All right, thanks for checking this out. We'll try to get some daily content out over the next couple weeks, and also hoping to get some interviews. My friend Scott is up for another talk about this subject in the election, of course. I'm not sure when that's going to come out. Depends on when we match our schedules up. Hoping to have some other type content too. Hoping to bring on some gaming buddies to talk about some lighter, funner subjects. But we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for checking it out.